of effort in our early years into getting the right balance of goods and services, and that's something that has stood us in good stead as later we switched from being a founder organized, I mean, he had many, many people helping him, but a founder organized informal organization to an official incorporated nonprofit organization. So we've had many of the same challenges that all of these other organizations have had, but we had some very strong policies in our establishment that have helped us survive through the organizational challenges. And so in terms of first, us being resources to you, and then you all being resources to us, we're really excited about this conference. So I'm somebody you can talk to about retail relations, how to talk people into starting to accept whatever your local currency is, keeping the currency flowing, and also Monica and I were two of the people on the transition team. And so if you're going through that kind of growing pain, we're both people that can be very helpful for that. Also here with us from Ithaca are Phaedra Papavasiliou, who is doing a lot of retail relations now. I haven't done much retail relations for about 5 years, but she's doing that now. So Phaedra, if you could stand up. Okay. Thank you. And she's also been providing general support to the system for the past year. LaGrace Benson is also here, and she has been a board officer for a long time, and she's also been a very important liaison to other community organizations and an ambassador for Ithaca Hours around the world. So LaGrace, could you stand up? Thank you. And then one of our most recent activists is Rebecca Nellenbach, and so there's Rebecca, and we're also really pleased that Paul Glover came with us, and I'm sure you all are aware of Paul as the founder. Okay. I want to just say just very brief things about two of the workshops that Monica and I are participating in. Workshop number 3 in session B tomorrow is going to start out with my reviewing some of the circulation policies that we set up in the early days that have held us in good stead, and some of the ones that we've had to tweak and change in response to problems. And then once we've reviewed those general policies relating to circulation, we'll get into some of the more how-tos and the more specifics of keeping your local currency flowing. And then again, I want to emphasize how much I'm looking forward to all of us getting together and looking at the different challenges and the different solutions to the organizational issues that we all face in terms of sustaining our local currencies within our communities. Thank you.
Thank you. Monica Hargraves.
I'm Monica Hargraves. I've been involved with Ithaca Hours since moving to Ithaca in 1995, and part of the reason that this local currency conference is so interesting to me in particular, and really to all of us, is that it's drawing together the big picture people, the practitioner people, and my background has spanned both of those bits, and I'm really enjoying being the practitioner person kind of working at the community level. I have to eat the microphone. So this is really an exciting chance to have these conversations. I was very stimulated by the 2 talks we've had so far this evening. People are raising questions and things that address the underpinnings. Why does this matter? Why does it work? What difference does it make? And it's exciting also to have the prospect of talking about the nitty-gritty, the how do we do it when we're actually in the town and talking to the retailers and keeping the records and all that stuff. There are times in the history of what I've been through anyway with Ithaca Hours of kind of getting frustrated and thinking, we're telling the same stories over and over again, but I keep reminding myself that part of the challenges of making a local currency system work, the work of education, that every time you go and pay with Ithaca hours for a cashier and they say, now, what's this again? And what's it worth? Those challenges are the point, because a huge part of the benefit of local currency systems and alternative currency systems is that education, is lighting the light bulb to people, showing them that there's an alternative. And so it's really exciting to have all these alternatives together and have all of us sharing our ideas and thoughts on that. In terms of Ithaca Hours history, a little bit of what's relevant to us is that we have been through a lot of changes in the last year. The 12 years since we've been running have seen the shift from, as Margaret was describing, a founder-organized system to one that is now managed by an elected board of directors. We have elections annually, the board runs it. We still do too much work in the sense of doing a lot of the nitty-gritty, but we're working, we're getting there, we learn all the time. And so that experience of that organizational shift has been a big part of what we have gotten out of the experience above and beyond the local currency process. We've made other changes in the last few years. We introduced a new denomination. Just a couple of years ago, we now have a 1/10th hour note. And this was partly in response to a need on the part of the community. All those cashiers that were really frustrated with the 8th hour note and the $1.25 and doing the math, they said, please give us a 10th hour note, make it simple. So we had kind of a referendum at one of our annual meetings, and there was a debate about whether to break out and match the US dollar denominations or not. We went with it. We have a new denomination. It's moved out into the community and is working. We have made a lot more connections with local businesses, local organizations. I feel like, although we're still struggling with some of the basics and we're still learning them and getting them better, we're also starting to get our footing and be able to reach out further for some of the bigger goals of the alternative community system. More inclusion, more diversity in the system, different ways of attaining some of the goals that are the reasons we all got involved in the first place. So this is an exciting time, I think, for all of us here, and it's really wonderful to be together, and thanks very much for the opportunity.
It's a pleasure to have Ikuma Saga here, all the way from Japan. And will you tell us about your Earthday money?
Thank you. Nice to meet you. I'm very glad to be here. And I'm also kind of very nervous because I'm not English speaker. And this is the first time to come to the conference like this, and this is actually the first time to make a presentation like this. So, Maybe I can be strong because I didn't know anything. Also, it is it just happened to me actually. The news of the local currency conference I received when I was in the business trip in the United States. I was in San Francisco, and on that day, I met some non-profit people in San Francisco, and I talked about Earthday money, and it was, I think, the shortest time they got the sense of Earthday money among all the people, including Japanese. The person in San Francisco, the non-profit person, understands the fastest the Earthday money. So I was so excited at night. And when I come back to hotel and I received the news from the local currency, and I wrote to Chris, and I attend the conference, and also I would like to make a presentation. Chris said, yes, please. And so I came here. And the reason I'd like to make presentation here in the United States is because maybe the Earthday money can be a good kind of reference for maybe it might work much better than the Japan maybe. It might be because it can be a good marketing or good promotion tool for non-profit organizations or social projects, and many American people say it's sweet or terrific or can I copy it? And so I think it might be a good hint. So I came here. And I would like to talk about, in the session, workshop E, I'd like to talk about the history since I met Mr. Michael Linton on 2000, and I started in 2001 there, and after that, we are making some project and programs and some network of shops or those kind of things. And also, on the bookshop, I was glad to see the books Upsizing, that is written by Mr. Gunther Pauli. He's the advocate of the zero emission concept. And I had a communication with Gunther Pauli, and I was a lot of inspiration from him. And his message is zero emission is no emission, but also upsizing is his great message. And there's also this description of community currency. There is alternative or complementary, but I like to propose the upsizing concept on this workshop, and I like to break down it, but on the workshop. But I would like to talk about upsizing, and also thanks to Bernard. He mentioned so many times about Japan, and so maybe the most of the people are quite now interested in Japan. And this time of the conference, there are not only myself, there are several people coming from Japan, and some of them are attending with me. And so if you are interested in the situation of community currency in Japan, please come, and I won't stick to Earthday money topics. I can talk about Japanese community currency topics too. Thank you very much.
Will Vanessa Williams join us? Vanessa Williams is administrator of the Equal Dollars program through Resources for Human Development in Philadelphia.
Thank you. Good evening. I unfortunately had a 3-hour car drive that turned into 6 hours, so I apologize for being late. I'm in Philadelphia. I'm part of a large nonprofit organization called Resources for Human Development. And 7 years ago, actually longer, our executive director, Robert Fishman, heard about Ithaca, was very impressed with the work that was being done there, and decided to work on creating a model, not identical, but clearly with some of the basic principles. And so we have been functioning and growing with challenges, with some very good things that have happened within our system. We have about close to 1,500 members. We are in an area that is, I'd say most of our members are predominantly African American. We started out working with folks in public housing developments and branched off into really starting to bring on more formal businesses, but also providing technical assistance and training for community people about how to best use and utilize and participate in our system. So I'll be talking about the challenges associated with our system, some of the things that we've tried to craft to address some of the issues that we ran into, some of the efforts that we're involved in now in really working with volunteerism and some of the nonprofits, and creating a system of rewards through donations of the currency. Again, modeled after many of the things that we've heard from some of the systems here. And I have with me my assistant, Jonathan Duncan, who's over there. He ran shotgun in the van down here. And we have coaches in our system. They are people who essentially volunteer to work within the system and assist other members, and they get paid in U.S. and our equal dollars. And Alva Clemens is with me, and she's one of our coaches. And so we're definitely excited to be here. Clearly there's a lot to learn. I expect to share some things, but clearly to walk away with probably more than I bring, because there's a wealth of information in this panel and in this room. And so I encourage you, I think I'm one of those people, I kind of cheat. I try to go to as many workshops as I can, spend a few minutes here and there. But if you get a few minutes, stop in, and we'll talk a little bit again about what we're doing in Philadelphia. And hopefully, if you have feedback for us and comments, that we'd love to hear them as well as we talk about what we're doing. So, thank you.
Thank you. Just stay right there. Michael Linton is the founder of the LET system, and I'd like him to take 5 minutes to describe his workshop that's coming up.
The LETS process has been a sequence of evolutionary changes. We've been through about 4 generations in the last 20 years, which is one of the consequences of working in a very small space, small community on Vancouver Island. If you get it wrong, you're dead wrong, and you have to rebuild from the ground up. So we've done a lot of that, and we've got a lot of experience on what works and what doesn't. Our latest model is built just like the Salt Spring model that Eric has talked about, firmly on the idea of business participation and one-to-one convertibility. Now, we don't use paper, we're using smart cards, and the advantage of this is that smart card can carry multiple currencies, 15 on a card, which means you can run time systems, dollar systems, local systems, neighborhood systems, the whole damn lot in one place. It's also configured, because of the convertibility, to operate, for example, and this is its design, to operate as a youth microenterprise. Say take 3 or 4 youth, 20 years old, they don't have to have Harvard MBAs, but they need to be quite smart, and with a working capital of between, say, 10 and 20K, you can probably get to cash flow positive in 3 months, full recovery in 6 months, and have a 5-year project running after that. Now, we did do this at home, in our test area, but it's a bit like the Wright brothers trying to fly down a mine shaft. You know, it's sort of, we got off the ground, we proved the viability of the process, and there's good documentation on it, and I can show you it, and I can show you the software and all the things we got with it. But we did hit the wall at the end of the tunnel, so we don't have a working prototype, which means that we are very interested in finding a community that is interested in taking this sort of adventurous initiative. We would be very willing to work with somebody who wanted to go for it in a big way. Smart cards, multi-currency, youth enterprise, get the joint jumping. Thank you. Oh, and I've got 2 workshops tomorrow afternoon, and I talk very fast.
And other local currency groups represented in the audience, would you like to come forward? Pardon? We'll take that too. Christian?
Well, that's what I was going to say. What about the ones that crashed? I was part of the Community Hero Card operation with Joel Hodroff in Minneapolis with Hennepin County, and before that, I was also with the Boulder Independent Business Alliance with Jeff Milchin's group, and so forming independent business alliances, then talking about what are we going to do with the local currencies. And so I've gone through not only ups and downs of recruiting members and businesses, but then also getting people to shop locally, keep the money in their pockets, and then find out the troubles that we had with magstripe technology, converting the complementary currency with the cash dollar and having both systems work at the same time. And so my workshop is going to be some of the lessons learned and some of the pitfalls that we went through when you consider that we did have the United Way funding. We went through $900,000 of funding, getting up our technologies. What were the problems that we went through? What were the lessons that we gleaned from it? And then what are some of the questions that we have moving forward? Because there are small pockets that we said, okay, we've learned that. Let's not repeat that. How do we convey that to other people? Don't repeat that mistake. And go from there. So I think mine is Sunday morning. Or something.
Great. Thank you. You are? Formerly of Berkeley bred.
Hi, Jim Burr, and I used to be on the staff of Berkeley Regional Exchange and Development, and our system based on Ithaca's system. In our last 6 months of operation, we had Tom Greco and Bernard Lothar join our advisory board. But also during that last 6 months, we went from a core staff that had begun with an awe-inspiring founder who was about to leave us to go off to law school, and two other, yes, Miyoko, and so Miyo's off in law school now, and she thought she was leaving it in good hands. We had an office for the first time in 5 years. We were no longer going from house to house, and we had 2 part-time staff members, and the rest of us, I was one of the volunteer staff members, and so out of our volunteer staff, Mio left to go off to law school. Another volunteer member was having a baby, and another volunteer member was about to plan a wedding, which left me and the 2 paid staff members who both simultaneously, independently of one another, decided to turn in the resignation notices because they were just getting too frustrated with the system that it did not seem to work. And quite honestly, I don't think it did work. That we never became self-sufficient. We were always relying upon grants. And the one thing that I thought might save us was we were a member of a network of worker-owned cooperative businesses, and we pitched a proposal to them to try us out on a trial basis of utilizing the system as an internal currency where they would not have to accept it from our members, but could accept it only from their own members and see how well it worked. It was rather contentious. It was a new idea to all of them, and ultimately it came down to a very narrow rejection of the proposal. And I think that that was the final straw where the part-time staff members decided it's just not working and we're retiring. And so that left me as the one sole volunteer member to try and go out and hire new part-time staff members and train them completely without any assistance from anyone else. And well, much as I wanted to, it just didn't seem feasible. And so Brand is currently in a coma. There's still money available for it in a bank account somewhere that could be accessed if we just find more volunteers who want to start it up again. So anyone wants to move to Berkeley, give me a call.
If you're interested, make sure to learn about the problems as well as the positive. Yes, come for it. You are. Oh, great. Stephanie from Madison Hours is successful operating system.
Yes, I was one of the planning committee who helped start Madison Hours. We started in 1996, and I'm currently just marginally involved. It's a successful system. It's stayed fairly small, but and it's also based on Ithaca Hours, and we all have tons of a debt of gratitude to pay to Ithaca Hours. One of the fundamental differences in Madison Hours is that we decided to form as a cooperative. So we're structured as a cooperative. Every member of the system has an equal vote, and then the board of directors runs the day-to-day operations. And we've stayed fairly small and unfortunately more localized than we would like to. We generally hover between 100 and 200 members, but we're currently adding a lot of members right now, partly because of an economic downturn. Our county has the lowest unemployment rate, one of the lowest unemployment rates in the country, so that's always been something that's kind of worked against us. We have a lot of people who are sort of underemployed, a lot of people having to have a lot of jobs in order to make ends meet, so people don't have an abundance of time. but we're seeing things change as the economic situation gets more difficult. And Madison right now is really ripe for, I think, a big boom in complementary currencies. So I would love to get input from anybody who has advice for us or wants to offer us technical assistance on how we can expand maybe to other forms of complementary currencies. And I have our community newspaper. That's how we publish our listings. I have that and some of our outreach materials with me if you want. So let me know.
Terrific. Heloisa, talking to us about South America? Yes. Ooh, great.
Okay. We have a lot of work to do in these 3 days because we have so many things to tell and to listen and to learn. But what I'll try to do in the workshop I'm going to organize on Sunday morning is how playing cards we can make what we call a process of radicalized democracy. And before talking about money, talking about democracy. So I'll try to explain how we were working in Argentina after the crisis. Bernardo described a little bit, because it was an exponential growing like money, because we had 23 persons in 1995, and then 2001 we have 6 million. So that was exponential like the money with interest, and how it failed and why it failed, because most of people really do not know why it failed. And it was not just a problem of transparency. It was most the problem Michael Linton mentioned, people that do not know how to run the bicycle. So now we are very, very worried with how running the bicycle. And I'll try to tell you the experiences we're conducting in Brazil with the Dutch Foundation Strohalm that is working with a very interesting arrow of very poor people, medium poor people, rich people, landless, landless movement. No, landless movement in Brazil, south of Brazil, and how we are doing a very interesting process called how to clone money. How to clone money. This is a very, very interesting process. When we have to build a school, we need $20,000, but we have only 10,000. It's possible if we know how to introduce properly community currency. That's what I try to explain you how we are doing. Okay, thank you.
My name is Shri Kumar Poddar, and Margaret already introduced me as publisher of her book, Interest in Inflation-Free Money. The copies are available in the bookstore. I'm part of a new global freedom movement based in India largely and United States. And we have a Gandhian approach to this local currency issue. And Dwarko Sundarani, who spoke, was one of our national coordinators earlier. And the way it works is very beautiful. Instead of having equal exchange, we have gifting program. And there are many other programs. And the program works like this. If somebody has a need, they approach the village community for a gift of that item. It could be a cow, it could be carpentry tools, it could be a sewing machine, but there is a condition attached to it. Nobody is a beggar. One who receives a gift must return the gift, and in due course of time must give a gift. So we started with 6 sewing machines a year ago to be gifted to students of a tailoring school, with the idea that it will take them 3 years to return the gift, and another 3 years to give 6 additional machines. When we went back to that village this year in February, just in 12 months, the 6 machines, which would have taken 6 years to become 12, had become 18 in 1 year. So I asked how it was possible to have tripling, and they said the girls who got the first 6 machines were so good, they were able to pay it off very fast, and then as the money was coming in, they were buying more machines, and some new people got inspired to give gifts to others, and this is now called Godan to Bhudan, means from cow gift to land gift and everything in between. You'll be very happy to know we have over 1,000 villages with nearly 1 million population in this movement, which is not financed from outside, it is financed by the people. They use some of Dr. Kennedy's ideas in training of both interest-free and low-interest banking. I don't think with the workshop schedule, but if there's interest and time available, I'd be happy to share more information. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm just going to make an announcement. Yes, I know. I'm just going to say we would like to fit some more people in this slot to introduce themselves. So just try to keep your comments brief. Okay? All right. Thanks.
Okay, with that introduction, I'll try to be brief. My name is Kevin Innes. I'm a regional currency officer for the Asheville area, and there will be on Sunday at 11 o'clock, the founder of the Liberty Dollar will be giving a workshop presenting the Liberty Dollar, silver as currency. I appreciate the Salt Spring Island fellow talking about how it's a work of art. Some consider this a work of art based on silver. And it's been readily acceptable for over 100,000 people, I think, right now are using it regularly. There's between $5 and $6 million in circulation around the United States. There's, I think, about 30 regional currency officers that are actively promoting it. We've gone to the Dallas Federal Reserve and talked to them and what we're doing, and they said, let the market decide.
Thank you. Other local currency groups that are active who would like to introduce themselves? You are.
Natanya Siegel from Woman Chair. I'm here mainly, it's a program that we exchange hour to hour to empower the work that women do or any work that we do. And I'm really here to actually reactivate and find more interesting ways to get us to do more exchanges, that type of thing right now. So, because we're sort of low on that, and but there's a lot of good stuff that it does do, you know, in spite of that. So if anybody has some suggestions, let me know. Thank you.
Thank you. Women's Share was the pioneer. Please. You are. Oh, good. Hi, John.
Hi. Hello, everyone. John Rogers, Wales Institute for Community Currencies, come over from the UK. In Britain, people endlessly debate whether we should be in or out of Europe. One of the good bits about being in Europe is that we can access European funding from central pots of money. We're working in a region of the UK in the South Wales valleys and the ex-coal and steel-making areas, which makes us eligible for particular pots of European money. With that, we've been able to set up an institute for 3 years to test out a range of applications of community currencies. Like many of you, we've got lots of experience with trying to run standalone systems and to learn the lessons from trying to do that. There's two questions that particularly interest myself and my colleague Jeff Thomas, who's here today. One is, how do we integrate what we're doing with community currencies into the heartlands of existing community development activity? We put an awful lot of effort into trying to set up standalone systems, and then we build in a sustainability problem. We're looking at how can we work with existing community development programs and persuade funders to start funding community currencies as naturally as they fund training or capacity building or staff budgets or office costs or any other costs you take for granted. Second thing we're interested in is, how do we award activity that is done for the whole community, not just person-to-person service exchanges, which is what a lot of our systems at the moment are focused on. How do we award, instead of just assuming that community building is the aggregation of all those person-to-person exchanges, what if we directly award that direct community building activity? So the way we're looking at using time currency, particularly in the South Wales valleys, is to look at how can we put in place awards menus that are funded in national currency and people can get awards in exchange for their community building activities. So on Sunday at this conference, we're going to run a little workshop on the idea of community time centres. And the basic idea there is if people can come along to social events at their existing community centre and pay in time to attend those social events and then owe time to their community, which they pay back by doing community building activities around the community centre. And we're going to play a game in the workshop to demonstrate how this concept could work. We're experimenting now with a community in South Wales to demonstrate how that will work. So if that interests you, please come along on Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. You are. Oh, hi, Sergio.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Sergio Loop. I'm from California, originally from Argentina. And I brought two things to share with those interested. One is from an open source movement, software, an application on the internet that will allow us to, will allow groups to interconnect, to list online in a private place all your resources and also your needs, and so do the matchmaking electronically. We have been using it since 1998. It's the friendly favor system. Also allows us, it's an illustrated system, so when the group grows to over 100 people, it becomes very difficult to remember each other, so we have a picture of each of us. And it's a self-maintained system because each of us keep our own data current. So as you move, you change your email, you change your area code, you're still going to stay in touch. We also have our own community currency. It's called the thank yous. We have about 1 million thank yous already used. It's equivalent to one thank you is equivalent to $1 saved. It's not taxable, it's not redeemable. It's like $10. And we can keep the accounting also transparently online. And since the last conference in Boulder, we are opening that also as an open source. So we are able to keep the accounting of other systems. So if you are interested, please approach me and I will explain you how to do that. And for those who would like to be part of the roster that I'm preparing, approach me and I will put you in. Yes, so that way we can stay in touch. My name is Sergio Loop. What did you say? The currency is called the thank yous, and I can give an article on it if you wish. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. You are? You are? Douglas, there.
Hello. Hi, I'm Douglas Jack from Montreal, and I'll be giving a workshop on indigenous economy, Circle of Life. But I have a message actually tonight. Wendy Brower from the Green Map system. There's 250 green maps around the world, and many across the Northeast here and across the U.S. and Canada. Green Map is mapping ecology. That includes green businesses, organizations, so many of us are working with geographic information system mapping, computerized mapping. Wendy wanted to pass the message as people working with with local currencies who might want to link with the Green Map system, because we feel that the Green Map system could greatly benefit from a local currency approach as well. And so she just felt that any kind of linkages that could be done that way are most welcome, and anybody can come and talk with me if they're interested in that kind of linking with Green Map groups in your communities, and vice versa.
Hello, I'm Christine Gray, Time Dollar, and Automane is a very dear friend and partner. I just wanted to share about the fact that what I think we'll be covering is that Time Dollar is very weird, and perhaps all the local currencies find this. It's very, very straightforward. An hour is an hour is an hour. And yet what we find is that, what can I say, complexities, it can go in so many different ways. It's like water. And a lot of what we deal with is actually looking at different situations and saying, oh, well, how could we use it this way? How could we use it that way? How could we use it that way? And it's a constant learning all the time. And in different institutions, it'll work different ways. In different communities, it'll work different ways. And I think one of the things that we'll be showing in our workshop is that enormous, well, I was going to say enormous variety, but then I have to join that to the fact that it's both enormously variable and sort of constant at the same time. And that's one of the very, very interesting things about this. So, and to be totally truthful, I can't remember when my workshop is.
Sunday.
Oh, it's Sunday. Okay.
So we have a really wonderful cast of people here giving talks on local and complementary currencies, but I also wanted to bring your awareness to all of the amazing folks who are coming to talk and give us more of an understanding of the conventional monetary system as well as banking systems that can be applied to local currency systems. We have Per Almgren, who's come from Sweden, who was one of the founders of the Yacht Bank, and it's a great pleasure to have him here, and he'll be giving a workshop on the interest-free banking system that's been started in Sweden. We also have Donald Bethian, who has come all the way from New Zealand, who will be giving a workshop on the banking system in New Zealand, as well as two different systems or monetary systems that have arisen in New Zealand that will give people a better understanding of how money works and flows and how people can apply that to their understanding of local currencies. We also have Julian Darley, who will be co-leading a workshop with Richard Douthwaite on the energy crisis and contraction challenge, energy, money, and climate change, and which I think is a very important issue given the given how dependent we are on oil as the blood of the global economy. And so that will be a very enlightening workshop for people who are interested in this subject. And Martin Hassan Bromwell has come from Ecuador and will be giving a presentation on the business models for, where are you, Martin? There you are, right in the front. You want to give us, sure. Your description of what you do.
First of all, I'd like to thank Chris and Susan and several other people who helped me get here. For the last 4 years, I've been working with the Internal Revenue Service of Ecuador, and under payment from the Inter-American Development Bank, which makes it seem probably very strange that I'm here. But over the last year and a half, I've been talking to them about how to create a community currency that is actually compatible with the tax system. And and the situation in Ecuador is that in the year 2000 it was dollarized. They didn't throw out their national currency. What they did is take Inca gold, $3.5 billion worth, and sell it to the Federal Reserve. And we now have paper that's flowing out of the country like a hemorrhage, and the entire economy is going down to nothing. And everybody, including everybody in the IRS, is extremely worried about this. And so, and there's no solution, there's no way back. The door is latched shut, effectively. And so I'm looking at what I know, which is 30 years of software development, things like that, to find a way to do a national currency. Okay. Time's up.
Yeah, time's up. Good.
You say it.
Hassan Bromwell. Hassan Bromwell. Okay.
Nice.
And so just going over the schedule a little bit more, there will be a workshop with Richard Kotlartz, who's sitting over here, who I mentioned earlier, who's a brilliant fellow who has written many influential essays that have influenced my thinking on money very, very much, as well as Vern Warwick and Tom Kennedy, who are sitting over there, who are also very intelligent, independent thinkers on the issue of money, as well as my friend Michael Murphy, who is, I don't know if he's still here, but I think he might have left. But they'll be giving a panel looking at the issue of usury in different contexts and how that applies to the money scenario today. And so then we will have Jean-Francois Noubel, who's come from all the way from France. Jean, where are you? There he is. And, well, I think we're running out of time. How much time do we have? Yeah. We're running out of time.
Please let him describe.
Yes. Come and describe a little bit.
Thank you. I'm coming from France, from the southeast part of France. So my name is Jean-François Noubel. I will be giving a workshop about collective intelligence. So this is something that is kind of new stuff for most of you here. Well, the good news is that the power to change the world is here in this room. Now the bad news is that it takes a lot of collective intelligence to make it happen. So this is about collective intelligence. All the projects will need to have communities that prove to be smarter than what is in front of them, which are the pyramidal structures that are very reluctant to that. They don't want it to change. So we need to be smarter together. We need methodologies, we need trainings, we need social contracts, technologies, and everything. So this is what collective intelligence is about. And I will give a workshop Sunday morning at 9:45 a.m. And in the meantime, I'm available for everyone for discussion or whatever you may need in your work. Thank you.
So we're also very honored to have Christopher Bamford here, who is a neighbor of ours from Great Barrington, who will be talking about spiritual metaphors for money. And we'll be looking into the metaphysical aspects of money. He is editor at Steiner Books and Linda's Farm Press. That's right. All right, so that should be a really exciting workshop. We have Agnieszka Kolmak, who has come here from Germany, who is organizing an extraordinary conference in Germany, which is coming up at the end of July, which is looking really amazing. She is probably the most incredible resume of anyone I've ever seen. It's probably about 5 pages. And Paul Glover will be talking about the Ithaca Health Fund, which is a project that is a branch off of the Ithaca Hours, which has been having lots of really exciting effects with the Hours program. And John Rogers and Jeff Thomas. John already spoke a little bit about what he's going to do. At least. And Chris Mackin and Noemi Gishbank will be talking. Gishbank, would you like to speak a little bit of what you're going to talk about?
Hi, I'm here, and hopefully Chris Mackin will be joining us on Sunday morning to talk about what are the connections that can be made between local communities and local currency movements and problems that are global in nature, such as the sweatshop problem. So it's gonna be more of a discussion that Chris and I will be leading in terms of, we don't know the answers, and we hope to discuss a lot of them and see what something that's essentially local in nature can do on a global scale, or how they can engage with global problems. And we'll be looking at a case study of a co-op factory that is anti-sweatshop in nature and is trying to engage with the global marketplace. So looking forward to seeing you on Sunday. Question? No, sorry. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Naomi. So we're just about out of time. The last workshop I wanted to introduce is with Woody Tash. It's a panel with Woody Tash, Susan Witt, and Paul Glover, entitled Slow Food, Slow Money. Woody will be talking a little bit about ideas that he's been having with the concept of slow money, and what does that mean, and how can we connect this whole movement with the local agriculture / slow food campaign, which has been having a huge effect around the world. So I just wanted to finalize by saying that you're all probably aware that there's a lot of workshops here and a lot of things that you can choose from. It's probably going to be a little tough, but I just wanted to add that the information that we're all going to receive from these workshops is kind of like money, and that it needs to circulate. And so this is going to be a practice test to have this information circulate amongst each other as much as possible. Just like money needs to circulate to have real value. All of the seminars will be videotapes. Yep. What's that? In August, probably.
August and bright and early tomorrow morning, folks. We have a very full program. So
Yes.
we'll see you all then. And thanks to the panel.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I'm gonna. Yes, and just another note, everyone. Please look at the schedule on the brochure, because any of the schedules that you might have downloaded on the internet might have been changed. Okay.
Not that. No.
All right.
Okay, you took my pencil. What'd you do with it? Well,